God's love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place. In the midst of his children, the Lord said he would be. It doesn't take very many. It can be just 2 or 3. And I feel the same sweet spirit that I felt of times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place. There's a holy hush around us as God's glory fills this place. I've touched the hem of his garment. I can almost see his face, and my heart is overflowing with the fullness and the joy. I know without a doubt I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place. Surely the presence of God's love is in this place.
Thank you to my fellow musicians, Sandra and Nikki, and to our sound guys, Wayne, Byron, and everyone that's here today. Welcome. I'm Bobby, and it's good to welcome you today because surely the presence of God is in this place. His love is here, you're here, and we reach out with our divine love and connect with you. And so I just want to I also recognize our guest speaker today, which is going to be Danna Zahller, and I'm going to let her surprise you with the talk title. So we're going to open in prayer, so we can just keep in that presence that we just felt. It was lovely. Join me in prayer. Sweet Spirit, we open our hearts to receive you. We greet this day centered in God and in the knowledge that we are all one in spirit of the Christ. It is from this consciousness that we become an individual expression of the love of God. We envision sending his love out to this world, seeing love extended out to our Unity community, to the city of Spokane, and across the globe. We honor all those who worship on this day, no matter what their faith path. For we know that there are many paths to God, but there is only one God. In the warm and loving spirit of unity, we say, thank you, God, and amen. Now, I don't know if we have any announcements. I haven't been given any, so we have announcement. Do you have an announcement? You give the announcement then.
Thank you. So there's going to be a happening on Thursday evening from 6 until 8 p.m. The Northwest Region annual meeting will be taking place, and it will be on Zoom. At that particular meeting, Reverend Shad Groverland, who is the Executive Director of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and Reverend Jim Blake, who is the CEO at Unity World Headquarters, will be addressing the meeting. They will both be taking probably 20 to 30 minutes each right toward the beginning of the meeting. And they are both very inspirational. What they'll be talking about is what's been going on in Unity in this last year and what to expect. And there's many exciting things that are happening in the Unity movement that most people don't know about. So this is kind of a rare opportunity for you who are out there watching, because you can stay out there watching from 6 to 8 on Thursday evening, to have an experience of these two dynamic gentlemen, as well as understand that the Unity movement is well and alive, and there are a lot of great things to look forward to. So the way to access the Zoom meeting is simply to go to Unity NW, which stands for Northwest, Unity NW Region, REGION.org, and there is a banner right there at the beginning there. That's the website. There's a banner for the meeting, and all you need to do is click on, put your name in, and put your email in so that you can get on the Zoom call from 6 to 8 on Thursday. And if you only want to be on from 6 to 7 and hear what they have to say, that's fine too. Following that, there will be information about the Northwest region and what's happening in the Northwest region. So here's a quiz for you people who are present. Where are you going to go from 6 to 8 on Thursday evening on the internet? UnityNWRegion.org. UnityNWRegion.org. And you will be pleased with what you have to see. Also, we will be Zooming. I get the message from the back here that we will be Zooming here at the church, which will make it maybe easier. There's room on the Zoom for the first 300 people, and of course this has been now spread out this Sunday morning to all of the Unity churches in the region. So the sooner you go on and register, the more likely you are to be able to get on. So recommend that you do it soon. UnityNWRegion.org. You will be edified and not disappointed. I can guarantee that.
Thank you. Sandra, do you want to announce your ticket thing?
Oh, I guess quickly. We have a show coming up. Come see me if you're interested. It is going to be at Unity Spiritual Center on the South Hill. It is The Divas Are Back. And I do have tickets today if you're interested. So come and catch me after the service. Thank you. October 14th, which is a Friday evening at 7, and we have a matinee option. which is Sunday the 16th at 3:30 p.m.
Okay, so if we can kind of get back into that presence we were in, and we're going to prepare for meditation. You can just close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths, and get yourself settled into the presence, into the sacred presence, into the I am. And this moment is where I belong. If you are here, you belong in this moment. You came here to meet the divine, and the divine's here to meet you. I ask you to take your left hand and place it on your heart center. And maybe put your other hand, just one finger on the top of your head here. Just do this with me. Now, as you take a deep breath in, try to connect this heart center with the center up in the top of your head. And take a deep breath in. Bring it all the way from your center and breathe it as if you're pulling it up towards the energy center in your head. Take a deep breath now. Hold it. Bring all that energy up. And as you release, just relax. And place your hands in your lap or wherever it's comfortable for you. Let's do this one more time. Draw that energy up from your solar plexus all the way up to the top of your head. Push the energy up as you take that breath in again. In. Hold it. Bring all the energy up to the top. When you breathe, again, relax deeper. One more breath of relaxation. Relax. So we came here today to take a walk with the divine. And we do that all day and every day in our lives, but sometimes we're not aware of it. Today we're aware because we're sitting here in the presence with one another. Maybe you can feel that presence as I can. You know, we get busy and we forget that, but we want to connect. I want you to imagine now that this divine presence that's all around us in you, it's part of you. We can't live without this divine. I want you to imagine that you're going to a mirror, and you look in the mirror and you see yourself. I want you to look in your eyes. Get a really clear picture of this. Look deep, deep into your own eyes in the mirror. Do you see the divine in you? Ask the divine a question. Do you know me? Do you know me? As the divine knows us and we know the divine, we connect and we become one. We become one. Sometimes along the way we lose this presence for a moment. Maybe we speak a wrong word, or we get in a hurry, or we get aggravated at something. But without judgment, if there's any kinds of moments like this that you are struggling with, or things that are maybe a fear in your life, or a place in your life, or a habit that maybe you don't care for about that divine part of you, take a look at it with no judgment for a moment right now. Just hold it in your hand and just think about it, this thing that gets in the way sometimes. What is it? Take a look without judgment. Look at it. Now I want you to take it, tie it in your hand, and then release it. Open your hand and release that thing. Give it to the divine. Give it away. Put it out. Put it out away into the other dimension of divine possibilities, where it can just go and be away from you. And in its place, I ask you to reach out now and ask the divine to fill that spot in your life, to take over that place, that little thing that either annoys you, or that place that's a sorrow inside right now. Ask the divine to fill that void and fill that place in you, so that you can walk in that divine light as a divine being, with all the love that is given to us. We want to give that love out without mistakes, without tripping, although we do, because we live in this human existence. But we can always come back to this place. Let's go there a little deeper now. Connect with it. And remember, we can get rid of all these habits we don't like. and connect with that divine. In any moment, we can just ask the divine to make you aware of them during the week, to show you a sign that the divine is with you, show you a sign. Ask the divine to show you a sign that you are connected and that you are in the presence. Just meditate on this for 1 minute now. With gratitude, we thank the divine for the presence and the power in our lives. Just receive that love. Now become aware that not only do we hold this presence, but we can radiate it out to one another, to our world. So I want you right now to imagine that presence going out from you to this room, to one another, to those you love, across the globe, across the world, and to touch others, even those in war, without judgment. Just reach out and touch them. Speak peace and love to them. Now, as you become aware of this room again, you can open our eyes and know that all is good. And we thank you, God. Thank you.
Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God.
Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten. We are living in the heart of God.
We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. Morning sun coming through the trees, the green leaves shimmer in the summer breeze, the songbirds singing to the honeybees, living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God.
After the dazzle of the day is done, the moon makes love to the setting sun. The stars come twinkling one by one, living in the heart of God.
We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We sleep in dreams both deep and bright, sailing through the velvet night, refreshing the soul to the Spirit's delight, living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living, we are living, we are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God. We are living in the heart of God.
Nothing is ever lost, and we are not forgotten.
And we're going to get ready for our unity peace statement now. So let's hold the vision of peace, and not just for the violence in Ukraine, but for worldwide. So in all nations presently at war, so I invite you to share in unity's statement for peace together. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths for God, the many ways to worship God. For there is one power and presence of God, and that God loves each one of us equally. Unity stands for peace in our lifetime. It's therefore the position of unity to urge all nations, their leaders, and their people to turn to God by whatever name for guidance during these challenging times, and to pursue peace, not war. For this is what honors the God of all our faith positions. Okay, so now if we could all stand, and we're going to greet each other in the divine presence and welcome the divine and acknowledge it in one another. And for those of you at home, know that you're also part of this divine presence and part of this spiritual community. Feel yourself expressing love toward individuals, beholding the divine presence within each of them. Thank you. You can be seated. Now we're going to have, Sandra's going to do a song to get us ready for our message, right? Am I in the right? That's what's happening. Yes, it is. Okay.
In the ever-shifting water of the river of this life, I was swimming, seeking comforts. I was wrestling waves to find a boulder I could cling to, a stone to hold me fast, where I might let the fretful water of this river round me pass. And so I found an anchor, a blessed resting place, a trusty rock I called my Savior, for there I would be safe from the river and its dangers, and I proclaimed my rock divine, and I prayed to it, protect me, and the rock replied, God is a river, not just a stone. stone. God is a wild raging rapids and a slow meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage and a peaceful sandy shore. God is the river swimmer. So let go. Still I clung to my rock tightly, with conviction in my arms, never looking at the stream to keep my mind from thoughts of harm. But the river kept on coming, kept on tugging at my legs, till at last my fingers faltered and I was swept away. So I'm going with the flow now, these relentless twists and bends, acclimating to the motion and a sense of being led. And this river's like my body now, it carries me along through the ever-changing scenes and by the rocks that sing this song. God is a river, not just the stone. God is a wild raging rapids and a slow meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage and a peaceful sandy shore. God is the river swimmer. So let go. God is the river swimmer. So let go. So let go. God is the river.
So beautiful. Am I on? My light is green. I think it's on now. Can you hear me? Maybe a little more volume. It's on. Now we're awake, yeah. I have this little loopy thing right here that's looping. I'll try to be still. All right, so God is a river. Don't you love that? Peter Mayer from Minnesota. God is a river swimmer. So you are the swimmer. God is life, right? God is all of life. I love that song because we have to get this image of God as this big person with a magic wand out of our heads, right? Because that kind of gives us a cop-out. It lets us just like cling to God and think that everything's going to be okay. But we really have a stake in the game. We need to jump into the river. So my talk title is Life is a Divine Dance. Stop trying to lead. So it's interesting to me that 60 years ago this week, we heard these words from our president. Some of us were too young to remember. But we've heard these words many, many times since then, of course. This iconic message about aspiring to go to the moon in this decade. And we want to do this not because it's easy, because it's hard. So this is one of those things we want to do because it's hard. We want to become a partner with God in the divine dance. We want to merge with that God divine self. And just like Bobby talked about in the meditation, we want to have that awareness of that presence in our lives all the time. So many of us were raised in traditional religions, and I sometimes refer to them as organized religion. People say, I no longer believe in organized religion, and I just say, great, because my religion is very disorganized, which is true. Unity is very free, it is very diverse, and it doesn't tell us what we need to believe, which I love about unity. So many of the traditional religions, though, hold true to that. There's one valid set of beliefs, there's one valid perception of the world, there's one thing that we all have to proclaim that we believe. And so many of us grew up with this notion that we are seeking that perfection so that we can have the blessings and therefore the goodness of God. And so I think a lot of people who are spiritual seekers, we're still on that path of seeking something because we're not quite ready yet to just become it. And so this is where we need to jump in. We need to be in that flow of life, be a part of the stream. So our pathway to the divine dance is to get into the stream of all of life. Across all religions, people are on this journey of truth and seeking the will of God. There's plenty of gurus, shamans, sages out there. And so ultimately you need to find with your own heart what that is, what that teacher is, what that message is, what that pathway is for you to connect inside of yourself. Because we can learn all we want to intellectually, but until we really experience, we don't truly know God. We don't really have that intimate relationship with God, and nor do we have the ability to follow the guidance of God. So life can be simultaneously chock full of joyful surprises, wondrous synchronicities, and pleasant presence of the moment. But at the same time, life can absolutely suck sometimes, can't it? So many people would think that if they are having difficulty in their life, that perhaps they've gotten out of the love of God, that God is no longer loving them, especially if they feel guilty about something, they feel like they've made a tragic mistake or error. But the truth is that we are never out of the love of God unless our thinking disconnects us. We are always in the flow, we are always in the path, so we need to allow our thinking to be in alignment with that flow. So sometimes it requires that we actually quit thinking, we quit analyzing, we quit judging, and we just allow that feeling to come into our lives. And it takes time, it takes practice, it takes devotion. So I've shared with you on more than one occasion that I have discovered about myself that I am prone to anger, but I'm very, very good at disguising it. I always look so calm, but on the inside, sometimes the river is very tumultuous. And so I've really had to look at myself, look at my life. I was raised in a family where there was a lot of anger, and I felt shamed a lot. It felt like the anger was pointed at me. Sometimes the finger was there, I felt shamed. And so I internalized that I was never, ever, ever going to be angry. Can you imagine? How can anybody do that? So I really, on the outside, I was able to disguise my anger. But if I'm truly honest, if I'm honest to my spiritual nature, a lot of times I'm judging other people. Because that was really the model that I had, right? Was a judging, angry, discipline. That's so I'm really following that mental model, although I'm pretending. So my goal, I guess, my goal is to really be true to my spiritual self, but also my goal is to find a way to channel my anger so that I can more quickly return to peace. And I do think that as we age, most of us are maybe on the second half of our life wave journey. As we age, it does get easier for me anyway, because I've made a lot of mistakes, and so I have it in me to find compassion for people who make some of these same mistakes, right? Like in traffic or, whatever it is. So I can sometimes get more quickly back into center, but I'm certainly not all there. I'm not there all the time. And so it's really a process. And my process is really at the end of each day, I reflect on what has this emotional roller coaster of life been showing me today. How have I shown up in the world? And those times when I have felt frustrated or judgmental or angry, I used to really feel so superior because I never lashed out at anybody. But who's holding that anger, right? I'm really then punishing myself. And then at some later time, believe you me, it's going to come out. So I'm going to then project it onto other people, this that I'm really holding within. And the truth is that my mother, who was my model of anger, my mother was Irish, and she really embodied that. But she would be angry, and then she was over it. So like the next minute, she could be playful and joyful. But I was so determined, it was so hurtful to me, her anger, that I was so determined to not be like that. And so I've been holding anger in my whole life. And I think I'm probably experiencing that frustration longer than she did, because she just let it go after she expressed it. So the truth is, it's not a shameful thing to feel anger. It's a human thing to feel anger. It's a shameful thing to be destructive with our anger. So I'm trying to forgive myself for what I've been thinking was such a shameful thing to even go to that place. And I think that, some people feel fear, some people feel anger, some people feel frustration, but we all have these emotions. And it is not the goal to pretend that we don't. It is the goal, however, to be in this dance and know that the divine is always present. And the more we can tune into that, the more we will have the wisdom to show up in the world as a dancer, to show up in the world not as a judgmental, superior, all of these things that we take on, to show up in the world as compassion, to show up in the world as love, and to really become a practitioner of bringing God into the present moment. For the few times that I feel like I've actually managed to do that, the experience is so magnanimous. The words just come to me. I don't feel threatened or challenged by other people. I feel truly loving towards other people. And where I experience this more than anywhere is when I do volunteer work in the prison, because truly, the people I have met on the inside who have really been practicing, who has really taken advantage of some of the programs and their own time in contemplation, some of them have become some of the most profound, capable souls on the planet that I've ever met. And so it's a humbling thing. So what we're trying to come to is to get out of that ego self that Father Richard Rohr calls it the false self. Sometimes I would call it the small self, the ego self. We want to get out of that place where we're trying to be superior, where we're in all of the ways that we identify ourselves, our professions, our successes, our wealth, our possessions, our clothes, our makeup. It is makeup, right? They call it makeup for a reason. Hello, that is not who we are. So the whole shtick of beauty, of body image, all of that stuff, that all comes from our ego self. And anytime we're feeling fear or threatened, you better believe that false self is engaged and looking for any pitfall, any reason to be defensive, right? So what we want to go to is come into that true self, the higher self, where we're connected. We still will experience suffering when we're connected to God. It is not God's job to take suffering away. We still will experience difficulty when we're connected to God. But when we're in that presence of challenges, we have such a more expansive ability to be creative and to speak to the situation, not from a place of judgment, not from a place of egoic advice, offering advice or offering strategies, but from a place of being with the situation, being with the situation in that moment and looking out as though you are projecting from a place of the divine. So in that place, we're functioning out of a whole new operating system where fear will not be the large barrier it used to be as you grow towards your next transformation. So Richard Rohr does call this a death. So you've heard that saying, I die daily. So it really is looking at dying, that egoic, judgmental part of ourselves to fall away so that we can become transformed. Just like we say, touching hearts and transforming lives, right? So the soul and the true self know that my life is not about me, but that I am about life. Not just little me self, but this larger life that we are all a part of. So the way to get started is to quit thinking and to start being. So start practicing being in silence, being contemplative, and really observing your life. There isn't anyone who can tell you what your dance is or the steps to your dance. But there is a process called Mayutics. Mayutics is it's really the birthing process. It's like allowing yourself to help others create from themselves. So a midwife practices Mayutics, right? They are there to assist you in drawing forth this new creation. So if you are being in the presence of God, then you have the ability to be present with other people in all of their trials and tribulations, and to be encouraging, seeing that presence in them and drawing out that creative process. What is in them that needs to show up, that needs to come forth. And so that really is that's my new word for the day, Mayutics, a practitioner of Mayutics. So bringing through, you are allowing God in you to bring through other people what is theirs to give. So in a very real way, God is relationship itself. So God is something that we sometimes seek to learn about in all of the sacred places, and we take it in intellectually, and we memorize incantations, but until it's in our heart, until we know that experience of what does it feel in my heart center to be in the presence and to be projecting out the presence, that is when we are in relationship with God. And that's really the goal. It's a very, very real space. It's a very real place to be. And it's a very real goal to be in this dance, this divine dance with God. So someone posted this on Facebook this week, and I was like, I love this, from Myrtle Fillmore. Each one of us is inseparably one with God, the source and substance of life and wisdom and every good. Each one must draw upon the source for his own sustenance and for his own light and for his own willpower. So she's really saying we have to do it on our own. And so I think this process of myutics, where we have other spiritual people, other spiritual leaders, or a spiritual community where we can support each other through that process, but ultimately it has to be your gig. Your dance has to be your gig. So Myrtle goes on to say this: parents often claim children as their own and feel that they must think for them and do for them and take responsibilities for them. This is done until the child loses his God-given initiative and lets down and creates a habit to depend on others. He has not developed the ability to launch out for himself, nor does he know that he possesses latent wisdom to work out of his difficulties. So this is another thing that I'm always thinking about my grandchildren. How do I teach? When most kids now live without a spiritual community, how can we teach kids that they have this in them? How can we draw out in kids this inner capability, this inner knowing of that higher true self? So she says, circumstances arise, experiences come that make it necessary for the individual to pull apart and rely more and more upon himself or herself. So this is really where we have to just trust. We obviously, we remember really what it was like to grow up in a world where we had to walk both ways to school, right? I mean, we remember having a lot more independence, a lot more freedom as children. We were outside a lot more. We weren't so much coddled by our parents, because I think the belief was that the world was a safer place. I'm not sure that's true. But I think that now we certainly feel a lot more fear about the safety of our children. And so we need to find a way to help them to feel that inner stirring, to help them to feel that inner capability and that knowingness that there's something there beyond their small self, that there's something more to them, and that they are truly connected to everyone else. And if we use the word source, if we use the word divine, the word God, I don't know. There's issues with that, with all of those words, but somehow we need to find a way to be that presence for them, to show them by our example how to connect and to become from this peaceful, calm presence, and to have that wisdom to know how to do this practice of myutics, how to draw out from them their inner truth and their inner blessing. So, do you know how many parables there are about the eternal life or the God's kingdom being a gigantic party? I would call it a dance party. Of course I would. So there's 15 parables of Jesus sending a message out to the highways and the byways, inviting everybody who's willing to come to the banquet. So it's that simple. It's very simple, but it's not easy. Jesus goes out of his way to mention that the good and the bad are alike, are all invited to the party. Well, that kind of rankles us just a little bit, doesn't it? Because we think that just us good people should be there. So, of course, we too have to acknowledge that the goodness and the badness is all of our projection. There's good and bad. There's wisdom and stupidity in each one of our natures, right? We all have the ability to be good and bad. And yet we're always forgiven by God. We are always loved by God. So we're all invited to this divine dance party. The only people who don't get into the party are those who don't want to come. So I guess you have to ask yourself, do you want to come? In Matthew 16, it says, "Will it profit you if you gain the whole world and lose your own soul?" So this thing of gaining wealth, this thing of gaining recognition, gaining success, gaining position is toxic in our culture. And the more we can learn to have this habit of intentionally disconnecting from devices, disconnecting from the habit to watch entertainment, whether it's football or television or whatever, the intention to go aside and commune with this natural resource that is always ready, always available, that is this river of life. It's not always easy. It's not always pretty, but is always available. And it's always our nature to be present, to show up as God, bringing God, the presence of God, literally into the world. So I read some of Julian of Norwich, who is an English mystic, some of her writings. Julian of Norwich was a contemplative in the 1300s during the plague, the Black Death they called it, 1350. And so she basically committed her life to be in contemplation, and she was literally sealed into a cell, and they would pass food and water into her, but she was attached to a cathedral in Norwich, England, and she had, like you'd go to a ticket counter of the movie theater, she had a little window there, and people could talk to her, and she would share her wisdom that came through her during her contemplation. But she was very intentionally separating herself from people so that she didn't get sick. So anyway, she came through her contemplation to understand that this God that she had known, this Father God that was wrathful, that she had known as a child, was not truly the God of her being. She came to discover that there was this more motherly God who could not help but forgive the transgressions of each one of her darling children, and that God that adores every particle of creation. And so I'm going to leave you with a quote from Julian of Norwich. So, "Even though the night feels impenetrable now, dawn is coming, when we will see with our own eyes that not only is every little thing going to be all right, but that it has been all along." God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, what an awesome message. Aren't you glad there's no guy in the sky with a big stick beating up on you for every little thing we trip up and do? Because no, there's, like I said earlier, there's no judgment. There's no judgment in evolving. So we just grow and we be that divine, like she said. So thank you so much for that reminder. So we're going to take the love offering now. But first, we're going to thank Danna again. Thank you so much. Let's give her a hand for that. Thank you. So I invite you to consider the gift you wish to give and share with the ministry today. And as we begin to pass the offering bags for those who are joining from home, you're encouraged to go to our website and click on the donate button. Instructions will be displayed on the screen as the music is played. So, thank you.
Who thinks the thoughts, who changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts, who changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts, who changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. Who changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life.
I can choose to be the light, to brighten someone's darkest night. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined.
Who changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thoughts. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life.
The power, and we have the offerings. So, Dorg, you want to come forward, bring the offerings? So, I want you to join me in blessing the gifts as we affirm together our love offering statement. Okay, please together with me. Divine love in, through, and as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you. I invite you to place any prayer intentions into the box before you leave today. It'll be in the back over there. And we'll pray for the next 30 days here at Unity, and then it goes to the main Unity, and will be prayed for another 30 days there. I started saying 90 days, but who knows? Somebody might just take it upon themselves. Okay, so if you're joining from live stream, feel free to call your prayer requests into our church office at 509-489-6964. Also wanted to mention one more thing here. When you do come for that Zoom event from 6 to 8, you know that it's going to be Zoomed right here, so you don't have to do anything, just come and it'll be presented to you here on the screen live. And I also want to ask you to join the Unity Center Divine Love and Light to celebrate fall with a harvest party. I love harvest parties. It's a family celebration. It's going to be on November 12th, 2022, this year, before it leaves. We're on Lincoln Road right here from 5 to 8. So bring the family to a fun-filled night, and there's going to be bingo, prizes, and take-home crafts. So please RSVP to DannyLaura1@yahoo.com or text or call to, I guess this is our Unity phone number, or someone's phone number, 509-230-6767. This will probably be posted somewhere where you can get this information off it out there in the foyer, I imagine. Wendy's shaking yes, so, okay. So, I guess now it's time to welcome the children. I'm going to ask Rich to help me with that now today.
You are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. You are walking in the light of God. In the light, 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 in the light of God.
Good morning. How are you this morning? Good. Did you have a lesson in Sunday school this morning? What was your lesson about? Can anybody tell me?
Teamwork. Teamwork.
Teamwork. What did you want to speak into the microphone and hear your voice?
Teamwork.
What did you learn about teamwork?
I don't know.
What is teamwork?
When you work together.
When you work together. When you work together. So what did you work together on today?
Drawing and stuff.
Drawing and stuff. What's in the basket? Oh, how pretty. That's a snowflake. Are we going to talk about snow already? Ooh, it's going to come, though, isn't it? Oh, kind of a special mask. So teamwork. So Amber is your teacher for Sunday school. Did you work together with her?
Yeah.
Did you work together in peace?
Yes.
Did you work together in love?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, then I guess you know about teamwork. That's the best thing about it. Is when we work together in peace and love. And we love you guys.
We read a story
And you read a story about?
I forgot.
I forgot. I know that story. We've done that story. So, peace and love, teamwork, working together. Well, how about if we all work together and give you guys a blessing? And the blessing is children, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, and we give thanks for you. Let's all affirm that together. Children, we love you, we bless you, we truly appreciate you, give thanks for you and for your teamwork. You're on our team. Thank you for being here. God bless you.
Thank you, children. Thank you, Rich. Okay, so now let's all stand and join together. We're going to sing the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family on a
say our prayer protection now. God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, and all is well. Okay, everyone stick around for some nosh afterwards. There's nosh and coffee in the hallway.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies.
I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny